Today I actually greet everyone in here peace today. I want to say thank you to the Pro Football Hall of Fame trustee board. I want to say thank you for my mother, my father, my family, people that were able to come in, people that are happy and see me. But for myself, really appreciate it. As I come to you as a common man, the journey has been long, but it actually has been rewarding. My mom, she actually gave me these 4 domains related to discipline, location, time, and date. For some of you that don't know, I actually grew up in Akron, Ohio, on the east side. But my mother, she's a native from Canton, Ohio. So intermittently, I would come to Canton and visit with my 4 siblings from time to time. But within the household, she made sure that I knew the time, the date, the location, and also my behavior had to be direct on time. Going into sports, it actually resembled that. I had a true love for the game of football. I was one of those individuals that would wake up on Saturday and fight my brother, Chief Master Sergeant Jermyah Graves. I used to fight with him that I actually wanted to watch football, but he wanted to watch cartoons. Let's just say that, you know, my mom went ahead and got another TV for us. I was able to watch football. My older brother, he's not here today. He's actually watching from heaven with his crown, Sergeant Curtis Sean Graves. He actually passed away in May 22 from PTSD. But I'll actually get into the Gravedigger Report, how that started. But for him, like I stated, I used to watch football on Saturdays. I would try to impress him. I would knew when Ohio State played Michigan. I would knew when Notre Dame played University of California. It just was something in me as far as just watching football when I was just young on the east side of Akron. And I didn't know that one day that I would actually be a part of something that was bigger than me, which is playing at Canton High School. So, one day, my stepdad, he was actually in the kitchen reading the USA Today newspaper. And there was a gentleman that was on the front cover of the paper. He was the first football player that I actually wanted to be like. You guys know his name. He's a native from Canton, Ohio. His name is Kenny Peterson. At that time, Canton was #1 in the nation. I was in 8th grade. I was like, wow, he's a gentleman that I definitely want to be like, right? If you want to play sports, there's someone who you actually imitate or role model, right? Or rehearse yourself over. He was the first gentleman that I wanted to be like. Now, mind you, I didn't know how to play football. I didn't know anything about football other than watching from the TV, but he was the person who I definitely wanted to mirror. Moving forward, my dad, he went ahead and took us to a Canton football game. We journeyed from Akron to Canton, and we watched. And then we quickly got back, and he was like, hey, you're very serious about playing football. Let's go ahead and just start some of the workouts. That I didn't know. This was just something that I just wanted to do, right? So we quickly started, working out, things such as that. My mom and my dad, they had a meeting, and they were like, hey, you're serious about playing football. You're serious about working out. You're serious about knowing the domains of time, date, location, and behavior. Those were the 4 domains that I mentioned. So, my mom and my dad, based on my wants and my talents, we actually journeyed from Akron, Ohio, for me to go to Canton High School. My first year, my freshman year, I met a coach who's here today by the name of Coach Neff, that actually poured into me, along with other coaches at Canton. They seen a gentleman that you see today. Just like you see a younger kid that has the mindset, the heart, but it just needs to be refined. Kind of like, that was me, coming from the big city. My freshman year, I didn't play football at all. I still wanted to participate. Coach Neff, the coaches at Canton, they were like, hey, since you're not playing, you still can be able to participate. You're still going to work out during the off season, and you're still going to be a part of the team. That was my time of really learning what off-season workouts really were and being part of something that was great. We know the motto and the theme that Canton McKinley, which is success is tradition. I learned that when I was in 8th grade, going into 9th grade. But I really learned that during the off season. So, came into my sophomore year of high school. These coaches that I named, Coach Neff, I have him here. Coach Gravilla, Coach Spider Miller, Coach Milt, the late Gary Pounds. These individuals poured into me. These individuals were like fathers off the field, especially on the field. I quickly grew as one of the best players in Ohio as an offensive lineman. I know it doesn't look like it now. I actually, lost some weight. We actually take care of ourselves after we get done playing again. But these individuals were pillars in my life, and I will never forget them. After I left Canton McKinley, I would say that I had imitating behaviors that were the best. I learned how to be a champion very fast at Canton McKinley. You had to do that, whether you're in the classroom or outside the classroom. I knew what it was to be a pillar in the community. I knew what it was to give back. I knew what it was to stand up. But most importantly, I knew what it was to know pain and pleasure, which is the recycled life. Would you not agree?
Yeah.
Thanks. So I still have these stars in my eyes. I said, you know what? I played at the best Canton McKinley high school team, Northeast Ohio. I want to go to a big school. At that time, my grades weren't the best. I stand before you as an individual and tell you that my report card now reflects straight A's in life. So therefore, went ahead and I went to the cornfields of Iowa, Mason City, Iowa, North Iowa Area Community College. There, that's when Jermyah started to really soar. I started reaching an optimal level. There's one thing when you have the coddling. I was speaking to one of the individuals from the trustee board. It's something about being at home. But for the men here, it's something about when you leave your home and you stand up as a man. My freshman year, I was 4 states away in the cornfields of Iowa. No mom, no Canton McKinley, no familiarity. And mom, that's when my raising went to an optimal level. I started to blossom. I started to showcase who I was in the classroom and in the field. Academically, I had a 2.8 my freshman year, and also I made all team first conference in my freshman year as well too. I remember going back into my sophomore year. This is when, if you remember, there was a blackout on the East Coast. And I actually went there in my sophomore year. And I seen my coach from North Iowa Community College. And he said, hey Graves, after practice, we definitely have to go and get a voicemail machine. We have a lot of coaches that would like to recruit you. I said, wow, I'm back on top. I even wrote for the school newspaper. So, something a little funny about that. I had a teacher by the name of Mr. Peterson. He actually pulled me to the side and said, hey Graves, I want you to write for the school newspaper. I said, wow, me? So I quickly met with him and the editorial board, and he gave me an assignment. He said, hey, you can pick any sports program that you would like to cover. I would like to see the questions, but I want you to come back and show me how the interview went versus on paper, and then we'll go from there. So I picked soccer. I always chose, the harder way, right, brother? I chose the harder way, which is soccer, which I didn't know too much about. I sat down with this individual, and it was women's soccer at that. This individual was an All-American in soccer. I had my crutches ready. They were down, and I nailed it. Went back with my paper, met with Mr. Peterson, and he said, great job. I went back to go over some of the corrections that were needed on the paper. And there were so many red marks on the paper at that time. My paper kind of felt like a blood donor, should I say. But here's the thing. He put marks on the paper, but those marks were incorrect. He just wanted to show me that I could really do it. He asked several football players and several individuals from the department to be a part of the sports writing. No one stepped up but me. Quickly, I went ahead and I was a guy that was on this front page of the newspaper of the school, and then I was able to be on the front page of the newspaper as being recruited. So I walked around campus as a guy that was high in academics. I was the guy that was high in athletics. I felt like Canton Cunning was there, and it was. Success is tradition. And time, location, and behavior was there. At that time, I took an official recruiting visit to Pitt. I also took one to Liberty University. I had other schools from Minnesota State, Minnesota Mankato, you name it. I was a nose tackle. I wasn't a three technique like Abel Spicer. If you know anything about football, three technique is over the guard. I was over the center. So I was about 345 pounds. And one thing that I knew how to do was stop the run. I just knew how to stop the run. I wasn't the guy that was going to get to the quarterback as much. But if your quarterback is there, I'm definitely going to get to him. How about that? But just being truthful. But I can say that as far as stopping the run, my junior college was number 3 in the nation. My sophomore year, we didn't do too well, but I was highly recruited. So, because of communication, and because I've done really well, I received a call from Coach Odron and Jethro Franklin at the time from University of Southern California. My brother, Micah, he was actually at war at the time in Bosnia. I had another brother that was in Kuwait at the time as well. My mother and my sister, Nikia, keep your hand up. Thank you, beloved. My sister was here with my mother, and at that time, the world was going through a hardship as far as with war. My brother called me and said, hey, what school are you going to go to? I said, I think I'm going to go to University of Southern California. And he dropped the phone. He was like, wow, you're going to go to USC? And I said, yeah, I'm definitely going to go to University of Southern California. I feel like this is the best place where I can be developed academically, I can be challenged, and I know that it's going to be further away from home. At that time, when I got on the plane to go to USC, I hugged my mother, and I never looked back. You see where life had took me, from Ohio to Iowa and further west. That's what life would do to you, right? So I get out to USC, I meet Pete Carroll. He immediately gives me the name Gravedigger. He's like, all I want you to do is just stop the run. That was it. You know, 3 techniques, they can go ahead, and at that time they had Keith Withers, they had Ray Malaluga, they had, Clay Matthews, were all on the team. And it was so much talent, we were just loaded. We were able to go to the Rose Bowl game, we played against Texas, we were able to go to Michigan and Illinois. It was just the time of my life. The experience, the academics, the learning. Once a Trojan, always a Trojan. I want to take this time out and say thank you to USC. Thank you to Pete Carroll for giving me the opportunity to come out to SC and play. Also, I was able to meet Abel Spicer, an individual who actually went from a friend to close family. USC at the time, just being there on campus, a lot of people ask me about that, but I come to you and say, because I'm at home now, and I have your attention. You guys make me feel like I'm at home, but I mirror what USC is based on being at Canton County. There's no difference. I want you to know that. Success is tradition at USC, but success is tradition to me. I just happened just to go to USC. It started when I was young, and it also was a journey when I was at my junior college. So, from going to USC, they didn't have the transfer portal. At that time, Abel can relate, we had so many guys that was just wanted to get on the field. There's only so many D tackles, so many nose tackles you can get on the field. When you get on social media right now, you see so many individuals that transfer, or you really don't know what took place. As far as for myself, I can say it was just load management. I was actually behind an individual who went first round, 3rd pick in the draft. Is this correct, Abel?
I think it was the second. It might have been 2nd or 3rd.
correct. He was first round, second or third pick. Nose tackle, defensive tackle, Cedric Ellis. At that time, to even play or be on the field at that team, you had to be exceptionally well. I wouldn't have had that, or the makeup of that, or mirror that, or be able to role play that if it wasn't coming from Canton and Canton High School, or being a Stark County kid. That's what I mirrored. Let's just say I had a conversation with Pete Carroll. To this day, we're like this. To this day, the football operations director, Miss Katie Ryan, thank you. I will always be a Trojan and locked in, but that chapter got closed. So, I went ahead and I actually transferred to a HBCU in Albany, Georgia. But Ma, can I tell you, we're talking about Southwest Georgia, 3 hours south of Atlanta. And when I say that it's so hot down there, and I didn't recognize it was so hot. Now, mind you, I'm coming from Southern California, I'm coming from Iowa, being from Ohio, that type of temperature changed my life. But just the experience of being at a HBCU and being down there and being able to have that culture. But during the whole transition, I can tell you this, my scars, they don't come cheap. Just like any other athlete, just like any other coach, just like any other individual here. We know that adversity is the motherhood of creativity. Would you agree? We understand that when you have pleasure and you have pain, that's the recycle of life, correct? And with true knowledge, you have to be able to understand that. I was at a young age. I didn't understand that then, but as I moved forward, I was able to withstand and have zestful knowledge of the recycle of life, pain, pleasure. Then the knowledge to carry out and to hit your target. This is where we have application, this is where we have context, this is the result. Would you agree? Thank you. So at my HBCU, it was definitely a culture shock. I was able to play underneath the great Mike White. I was able to be a part of the heritage at a HBCU. I didn't realize that I was making history. I had went from junior college, I had went to BCS, and then therefore I was able to go to a HBCU. A lot of individuals can't say that. We're talking about a great junior college, number 3 in the nation, go to University of Southern California, USC, play with 2 Heisman Trophy winners at one time, and then go to a HBCU and play in Division II playoffs. So it seemed the whole way that success was tradition, from Canton and Kinley all the way to the HBCU. I was able to get a couple Rose Bowl rings. I was able to host. I was just telling April Spicer, as we said here, that this is what we do: speak in front of mass, relish our feelings and our thoughts, and then after that we have a seat. We honor our mother and our father. We take care of our family, and we continue to be pillars in the community. So I say to you today, for the ears that are listening and for the eyes that are watching, this is the reality. This is a product of Stark County. This is what you created. Would you agree? Yes. Thank you. So moving on, at the HBCU, like I stated, it was a culture shock. It was one of the best things that ever happened to me. At that time, I was very humble. I had a child on the way. I actually became a janitor at night. Good work ethic, right? We don't think too boastful of ourselves, right? Just because we played in Rose Bowls and just because we actually have done things in the athletics to where we can't become janitors, right? Just because we can't, do certain things that receives a paycheck. For myself, I had the academics, I knew what the athletics were, but I was actually being pushed into the reality of life. I would call my friend April and other individuals back in Southern California, and they were like, Jermyah, you're actually pushing forward. And this was a time where I actually graduated with honors, the things that really mattered, the classroom, the development of education, attaining skills, and being able to blossom, and also being able to be a product of Stark County, but also away in Albany, Georgia. Therefore, I quickly graduated from Albany State. I went back to the University of Southern California. Pete Carroll was grading the picture for me to go back and do my pro day. I was able to work out in front of scouts and do some things, but football had actually mirrored and journeyed on. Football was no longer in the picture. I wanted to know, how do I stay around the game? And this brings me to this very point: time, date, location, and behavior. There's something I must have done right to be here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Isn't it obvious? Isn't it rewarding? Isn't it sacrificing? But most important, it's satisfying. So quickly after I got my degree, I rumbled with, how do I stay around football? Or how do I stay around the game? But for any athlete that has reached the most optimal level, other than going pro like my friend Halo, we're kind of like, I don't want to be looked at as a football player anymore. I've been a football player since Canton. I've been a football player since my junior college, since being at BCS, USC, and winning, and down at Albany, Georgia, being a football player as well. Once I became a janitor and started really working hard at night after I was getting my degree and still working out, I said, you know, I want to go ahead and put my degree to use. I want to be better as far as in the education matter. So I quickly resolved and moved forward in my journey in education attainment and became a case manager. And I said, if I'm going to be a case manager, I'm going to be the best case manager. So I work in the behavioral health field at a nonprofit agency in Washington, D.C. This is where I was able to outline the understanding of working with individuals that had disabilities, but also individuals that really cannot move forward in society based on non-compliance with medication, not following up with their treatment plans, or these individuals just need overall wraparound support. And individuals that need this, the individual that comes into your life, you have to be very serious about what you're doing. You have to know your information, you have to be able to speak to the mass like I'm doing now, and you have to be able to resemble some line of work that you went to school and that you're up for the task. I just switched the policy that I did with football. I'm up for the task, I understand the playbook, I know what I'm doing, and I wanted to be great. So I didn't understand mediocrity. Coming from Stark County, I consider myself a high achiever. So I don't understand an individual that doesn't try their best. That's just, how I'm wired. And I believe that's how everyone is here is wired. True enough. So moving forward, after a year and a half of being a case manager, you know how this goes, right? I went ahead and I became case manager of the year at the organization. My second time or third or fourth time getting an award within my life that just resembled football. Thereafter, I moved forward and worked at a nonprofit agency, which is United Planning Organization, which is one of the largest nonprofit agencies in Washington, D.C. There, I became a housing counselor, a certified housing counselor. This is where I actually taught to families that are underneath the family poverty guideline on how to buy homes. I had to go to classes, they flew me to different places, and I learned. With knowledge is how you become who you really are. And open up your mouth and releasing all doubt. That's who you become. I say that to my daughter. I say that to my friends. And I say that to you. Knowledge, reading, writing, becoming more in the classroom and understanding who I am as a man. So as a housing counselor, I would say after my second year, I received an award from the organization. And they said, Jermyah, you're very great at what you do, but there's something else. That's when I looked in myself and I realized that there's something special about Jermyah Graves. You really don't get that until, I would say, about 28, 29. That was the age that I was really understanding. I was keeping in contact with a lot of my teammates. I would watch on Sunday a lot of my teammates still playing football. I would see a lot of my friends going a different journey, and I see myself going right into the academic sector. education sector. And I see myself just rising in my employment. Thereafter, I applied for the government and I went into social services. This is where the key went. My second year in social services in DC government. On the Gravedigger Report, we'll get into that very shortly. A lot of individuals don't know what I actually do. Currently, as of right now, I'm a VDS, lead VDS, Washington DC government. I'm currently working with the mayor on a project, which is the ACD application program directly for families. I work very closely with the mayor. We actually started this program last May. I have to present on Thursdays and Fridays. Based on that application, I'm considered a reviewer. If anyone knows anything about families underneath the Family Poverty Guideline, we know that with the Section 8 voucher, you can actually live in the area of the community. But for myself, District of Columbia, they're actually putting out an initiative that I am running, and I'm the overseer as far as the review for families to receive this voucher, but to move anywhere in America. I see myself coming from Stark County. I see myself doing this at an optimal level, and it's definitely a blessing. Moving forward, I decided to go ahead and get my license in the state of Virginia in behavioral health. So tangibly, I work with DC government and City of Alexandria government. So I'm licensed in behavioral health. So on Monday and Tuesdays, they're very long. I go to DC government during the morning, and then I go to City of Alexandria government in the evening. And I still keep fast, I still work out. And when I talk to my friends, and also to my family members, they're like, wow, Jermyah, you're not the nose tackle who you used to be. However, if I told him about take off this suit coat, I can show you that I'm still the nose tackle. So moving right along, here we are. I made myself into who I am today based on the created with knowledge, understanding the recycle of life with pain and pleasure. Not stating that it wasn't an easy journey, but this still was a fire in me. You know when you have that burning fire that you make great money, or you're proud of yourself, individuals know who you are, or you're able to walk in the community and you're respected. That's all I wanted, but I had this fire in me. Listen to me. I had this fire in me about sports, and it would not dissolve. Everything that I accomplished, it was cool as far as the employment, as far as the lives that I was touching, but this burning desire of sports, I just couldn't get rid of it. I would wake up and practice in the mirror. You know, I would walk past a tree branch, still act like I'm on the football field, but still swim it. I'd watch football on mute because it's like I'm watching film. That's how much Abro and I and some of my teammates that are actually watching, how much we watch football. I just watch it on mute. I pick out one kid or, you know, a play, and I just watch because it reminds me of watching so much film, trying to be better. Catch me on a Saturday, I'm mopping the floor, but I'm watching and I got the TV on mute. I just wanted to see one play. I just want to see this defensive back. I just want to see this offensive line, this defensive tackle. So, May 22, I received a phone call from my sister. And she gave me a call and she informed me that my older brother, Staff Sergeant Jermyah Graves, had passed away from suicide from the military, PTSD. This is where my life actually changed. I spoke to you about time, location, and date, correct? So I realized that this day is ordained. During that time when my brother passed away, he had called me prior to, and he had got on me one night. I was out in Alexandria. He called me, and I was, you know, free. I wasn't doing notes in the city of Alexandria. And he basically called me and seemed like he had a conflicted voice, which is very rare for him. He basically called me and got on me. It's like, hey man, you need to get back into sports. I said, hey Sean, we call him Sean, Curtis Sean Graves. I said, hey Sean, I'm doing really well. I work for DC government, I work for City Alexandria government. Anyone else would not get into sports. And for me to get back into sports, that means I have to get back into a 345 body, but or pick up those habits to get back. But I didn't know what he meant about get back into sports. But I just knew that I wanted to be a part of the game or just be around it. So when he passed, we quickly had his service. I moved forward and I grabbed a microphone from Amazon. Now we're going directly into the Gravedigger Report. I knew that all my friends called me Gravedigger. I knew that Pete Carroll gave me the name. My last name is Graves. But I didn't know what to do or how to get started. So Jermyah, what did you do? How did you get started? I started to fast and pray. I started to rely on knowledge. I realized that the Creator has given me everything that I needed. The journey was already there. I had already wrote for the school newspaper. I had already been a part of Great Rose Bowls. I have already been a part of Stark County, me being a product from here. But how did you get started? Well, pulled out my cell phone. I got on Amazon. I bought an instrument that we call a microphone. I had already started watching players on Saturday that I did when I was 8, but these players are today current. Would you agree? Right? And then I used social media and went directly at them. Some responded, some did not. The ones that did respond, I actually didn't want to interview. I knew how it felt to be in a room where you had 5 sacks and no one wrote about you. I knew how it meant to be a football player running for 2,000 yards and no one actually interviewed you or wanted to say anything to you because you were at a smaller school. However, you can play on the next level. I played with the great. I played against the great. I'm from the great. Would you not agree? So I know football beyond any level. I don't have to be taught. I know it. It's here. Isn't that right, Coach Smith? So upon arrival, I can see what type of talent you have directly when I see you from film. So I put a team together. I said, if this is what I want to do to honor my brother and also honor the name of the Gravedigger, and I named it Gravedigger Report, reached out to a guy by the name of Mike Davis. Hopefully he's watching. Hey, what's up, Mike? He said, you should name it the Gravedigger Report. You're actually going to be digging up names that people are going to know in the future. Gravedigger Report. I said, okay, Mike, I think you're taking this a little too far. But I like it. But with that synopsis, I quickly went in, full-headed, full steam. This is what you see today. To this day, I'm able to have mentors from the NFL Network. I'm able to have players that I were able to receive their ears. I just got back from the HBCU Legacy Bowl. I had met with scouts, I had met with teams. This is not common. This is uncommon. I'm from Canton, Ohio. This is what I expect. Would you agree? This is what you produced. This is what my mother produced. This is the social fabric, which is we call family. So, at this current day, with the Gravedigger Report, we're actually doing very well. I was able to interview the #1 defensive tackle in the Big Ten, Joel Newton. That's with the Redskins. I was able to meet with the Heisman Trophy winner from USC. I've been able to move forward and interview HBCU athletes that scouts have not been able to interview. The Gravedigger Report was able to get their first interview. I was able to move forward and be invited to several different events. But you're talking to an individual, like I stated, that has been a part of EA Sports. Check. You're talking to an individual that has been part of 2 Heisman Trophy winners at one time. Check. You're talking to an individual that played at the great Canton High School. Check. You're talking to an individual that seen one football player on USA Today in the newspaper and wanted to be like him. And they were the #1 team in the country. Check. Greatness doesn't start overnight. It's a recurrent emotion that has to be implemented in different ways and distributed in different ways. Would you not agree? So, I mirror this crowd. I told my mom that it's nothing like coming back to Canton, Ohio. It's nothing like just being here and being a part of something that's just so great, something that's so enriched with culture. When I journey out and I hear individuals talk about football, I'm like, hold on now, wait a second. I'm from Canton, Ohio. Do you understand what I'm saying? When I'm in DC or I go out to LA, they're like, yeah, you know, this is California. No, baby, I'm from Canton, Ohio. You hear what I'm saying to you. This is where football started. We know this. This is us. And even if I was from Aston, it's all up. So moving right along, I can't say this. Everything in moderation, including moderation. I can't say that with time, date, and location and behavior, that this was not supposed to happen last year or the years prior to. This day was ordained. Everything that I have done has gotten me to this level. Do you understand? I'm not finished yet. I'm just getting started. I would say to all of you that where I'm going in life, I will not forget any face, any voice. I owe it to you. Thank you to the Hall of Fame Trustee Board for making this great selection. I would say that is a very valuable option and idea and selection when you really find out what you're called to do. I was able to embody that by pain and pleasure. My scars did not come cheap. We are a working, hard-working community, and we come together. I thank you, and if there's any questions, I'm open in the floor. I really appreciate it. Questions? Gentlemen?
Did you ever get the chance to mentor any young athletes individually?
Yes. He asked the question, am I able to mentor athletes individually? So a lot of my athletes, they meet me online. So the kids today, they just love social media, right? Just getting online, being able to communicate. They believe that's proper communication, and it is. That's why they call it social media, right? You can actually communicate by typing. But as far as, yes, directly, I'm able to provide them understanding of what it is for hard work. I'm able to implement different ways and role play them on the embodiment of being a man. We understand that for athletes, we want them to be better off the field and on the field. The mind of the student athlete can be very tricky. They are emotionally tired. I believe that they need to have mental health days. There's times where athletes with the NIL bill, which I'm a part of and April is a part of, with the time and things that happen at Southern California. At that time, we won't get into that with NCAA, but there's a time of when athletes are financially, it's taking places where you might have an athlete with an NIL deal, bring everyone up to knowledge. You might have an athlete where an NIL deal to one athlete that you're sitting next to might receive $80,000. However, the quarterback that is sitting next to you receive nothing, only just scholarship and stipend money. So that would set division. Athletes today have to be focused on the plan at hand. They have to be focused on the application, the context, and produce results. This is what athletes need to do as of right now. But as far as have I actually been able to provide that, yes, I have. I've been able to do that from a social media standpoint. I've been able to do that from a physical standpoint. And I've been able to do that from an education and employment standpoint. When the athlete is done with the game, because we understand that athletes today, they have this fire in their eyes, right? That they all want to go to that next level. But what happened in life for individuals who are older, such as myself, when an athlete is not able to go to that next level? We have to have things in plan. I have that in plan as far as for education and employment. Thanks. Next question.
Have you ever been approached to being a coach? Because with your background, I think you'd be a heck of a coach.
You know, as far as for myself, I've been a coach in so many ways. I know right now if I was to step off this podium, because I used to stand on campus, now I stand on podiums. But if I was directly to go be a coach right now, I can implement a task, a strategy that would produce results. That has been a mirror of me. That has been how success has been traditioned in McKinley. I thought about it in so many ways, but I just love speaking in front of the microphone. I have this saying that less of me, more of you. If you build it, they'll come. And if any coach wants to have me as a defensive line coach or be a part of their program, I'll entertain it. But I just love what I do as far as just interviewing the athlete upon arrival. And to answer this gentleman's question as well too, how I meet these athletes, to mentor or to coach, it's all on social media. And then when they see me face to face and I meet them one-on-one, they're like, wow. And I look directly in their eyes and they see the old nose tackle. Get it? And a lot of people don't know, but the nose tackle just doesn't play at all. So I just don't play. So when I see that individual, that athlete, they're like, yeah, he's a real one. Yep. Next question.
Jermyah, first of all, thank you for being here today.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful discussion. It almost is certain that your career has had a lot of divine intervention as far as the career path that you've taken, going from junior college to BCS to HBCU. If there were a transfer portal, how different would your life have been?
That's funny. So, how about this? A lot of individuals don't know when I actually transferred to Albany State. I wasn't supposed to go to Albany State. When I transferred from University of Southern California, I was supposed to go to Nebraska. I only had 1 year. I had to go against the NCAA. I wanted to mention that, but I know how it is with the NCAA. At that time, Southern California, we were going through some times, and I'm a part of that. I knew that if I transferred down to a Division II school, that I would get an extra year. I'm not saying that I was not supposed to go to HBCU, but I was supposed to go to Nebraska. And I actually spoke to, if you've seen, there's a college Netflix show that I actually spoke to the coach, and he was at Canton Community College. And let's just say that I had coaches that helped me that along the way. The divine intervention was for me to go to Albany State. I wanted to go to Nebraska as far as to play and to go to the next level. There was no reason for myself at the time as being a one technique and being able to play, you know, both sides of the center, both sides of the shoulder, both A gaps, that I wouldn't have been able to at least taste what the NFL is. But I'm speaking at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, so I guess I have reached the NFL, right? Just to make it. Next question. Yes, sir.
So where do we find the Gravedigger Report?
Great.
Time for commercial.
Right? Yes, you can find the Gravedigger Report online, www.gravediggerreport.com. You can find me on Instagram as well, the Gravedigger Report. You can find that directly with my full name, Jermyah Graves, listed here. I have my content manager, Howard, who has been greatly best work as well too, as far as my editorial, as far as the vision, as far as the writing and the samples as well too. Also have my content manager that was in 2022, Ayanna Bradford as well too. Definitely want to give her acknowledgement. Also have my videographer as well too, but you can get right online, www.gravediggerreport.com. or you can find me on social media, Gravedigger Report, or my first name, or you can go ahead and go to YouTube. So I'm on all platforms. Another question?
Yeah, how'd your team do at Albany?
Well, my first year, we actually went to the second round of the playoffs. We were number 3 in the nation as far as for stopping the run. I was number 2. Here's the kicker. I got down to Albany. So they say competition at Division II. They have some great competition at HBCUs. And they have some great competition as far as for Division II and Division III. Would you not agree with Mount Union, right? So yeah, who's gonna go out there, excuse me, who's gonna go out there and highlight those individuals and say, hey, this individual can play. We need individuals that can go in and say, hey, this guy can play at that next level. And individuals who actually played that know. So we were number 3 in the nation for stopping the run. We went to Division II playoffs, and I, as a nose tackle, was number 2 in the nation in forced fumbles my first year. And that was after sitting out a year from the NCAA. As a nose tackle, forced fumbles, not a linebacker. Yeah. No, we didn't win. No, we actually, we lost to Catawba, a school by the name of Catawba, and it was rewarding. And then I quickly got in and put my degree to use, and et cetera. So those were my nose tackles days. And the thing is too, I tell all athletes, and I just say this, all athletes, especially offensive linemen, when you get done with the game, you have to lose the weight. If you're an offensive lineman or you're a defensive lineman and you weigh 300 pounds like I did previous, once you get done, you can't be 300 pounds or perhaps 400, depending on, for some of us, after you get done with the game of football. And for myself, I had a quarterback by the name of John Schmidt. He quickly became my mentor out in DC. He was the first quarterback, along with Willie Way, in Washington, DC. And I ended up meeting him, and I ended up getting a card autographed. And he took a nice to me to where he stated, hey, you're from Canton, Ohio. He had the Pro Football Hall of Fame band, guided me down. He invited me down to the Chesapeake Bay, to his home. And he actually played at Notre Dame, and then he transferred to USC, older gentleman. And he told me, he said, hey, Graves, if you don't lose that weight, your friends and family are gonna be at your funeral. There's no other way he can get me, information like that. It's a real power punch to this. I was like, wow. I said, okay, thank you. So I went ahead, I just hopped on my horn as far as discipline, structure within the health domain. We know health is broken down into 2 factors. There's broken down in physical health and also in behavioral health. So I went ahead and said, okay, mind over body, right? So I went ahead and started changing the way I ate, started substitute fasting, started realizing that I wanted to be not a nose tackle no more, but perhaps a defensive back. Yeah. Any more questions? One more question. Gentlemen.
You had coaching in football, and obviously you had some assistants in writing. Did you have any coaching in public speaking? Because you're a great public speaker, motivational speaker. Did you have anybody to kind of help you along with that?
To tell you the truth, this is all raw. This is raw. This is me being a Stark County kid. This is a product of this event, the trustee board. I wanted to get into Toastmasters, and I am. This is from late nights standing up and being able to relish my feelings and thoughts and my emotions. But most importantly, this is also me speaking from the heart. With this event, I didn't want to write anything down. This event is too valuable. I'm at home. You guys have allowed me to be at home. And it's something about being at home. When you're at home, you can have conversations with people in your house the way you want to, right? So, thank you for allowing me to be at home. But as far as public speaking, for myself, there's great individuals that I've seen. Steve Welch on the NFL channel, Bucky Williams on the NFL channel. These are my individuals that are mentors. These are individuals that have pulled me to the side and was like, hey, we like what you're doing with the Gravedigger Report. Now, mind you, I work 2 government jobs. I'm in the office, so I'm not doing labor, but I find a way for the Gravedigger Report. This is the reason why I'm on social media, and when I hit my target, I hit my target. Just like a solo tackle, and not an assisted tackle, right, Spice? I mean solo tackles in this one, right? No, we don't need to assist. But as far as the public speaking, there's individuals that I've actually seen that I actually mirror and move forward, and being able to take that time and to work on self. This is what it is mirrored. Appreciate it.